Hello, welcome to My Life in Spain. My name is Mark, and today I'm making a video about kind of mistakes that tourists make when they first come to Spain. Now, I'm not knocking them. I know for many people you've got limited vacation time and you want to do as much as you can while you're here. But when you go away and you think you know a country, you really don't. Now, I've lived here for 16 years now, and I don't live in a touristy area at all. And in fact, I avoid touristy areas in the summer. It's just not my scene, let's put it that way. But I can understand why Spain is such a popular destination. And I think this year it could easily surpass France for the most international visitors. So we'll see what the figures say at the end of the year. But right now we're in the middle of July. It's hot. It's 38 degrees today centigrade, which is just over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you're down in Cordoba and Seville, I feel bad for you because you must be sweating your asses off because it's really, really hot. Where I am, it's not so bad. I live up in the mountains. So while it's hot in the daytime here in Alicante, in the evening it cools down. And it's nice for sleeping, so you don't need the AC all the time. All right, let's get into it. So you're here on vacation. You arrive in Madrid or Barcelona. You're in the big city. Thousands of people around you, and you want to experience Spain. Well, Madrid has great museums. Barcelona has great attractions. So there's plenty to do. I mean, you could spend a week in either and never run out of things to do. So let's look. I made a list actually what to talk about here. Yeah, when not just American tourists but other tourists too, when they first come to Spain, they think they're in like a movie set. I mean, yeah and no. I mean, it is. Spain is different than especially if you're not coming from Europe. From the United States or Canada or the New World from Australia or whatever, it's completely different. There's lots of history all around you here. And it's no wonder you feel like you're in a postcard and you want to take those Instagram pictures and stuff. I get it, because there are some beautiful places here in Spain. But there's some things that you need to know. For Spaniards, normal Spaniards, they live structured lives. They live a normal life. They go to work. They wake up early. They go to work the next day. They have the weekends off. They have some work on Saturday. Sunday, pretty much everybody has off in Spain because everything's shut, as it is in most Catholic countries. But Spaniards work extremely hard. I mean, don't kid yourself. They work as hard as anybody else in the world. They're really hard workers. And this mañana mentality, it's not really true. Spaniards work really, really hard. So don't make the mistake that you think they're lazy. When you hear this siesta culture and stuff, that doesn't exist really anymore in Madrid or Barcelona or any big city in Spain. It's in the more rural areas, and it's good for people, pensioners like me. I'm retired. I like to have a nap in the afternoon. And other Spaniards, pensioners, probably the same thing, you know, but most people, they don't have a siesta, they work, and they work very hard. So don't think Spaniards are lazy, because they're not. Okay, second thing. Okay, the time people eat here. This is something that probably will drive most tourists mad. Lunch is between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock. That's it. If you find anywhere that's open serving lunch at midday or before 2 o'clock, you're going to a tourist trap. Now, I'll give you some advice here. If you go anywhere and you see outside the restaurant a photograph or an English menu, you're in a tourist, and it's open before 2 o'clock, you're going to a tourist trap. I can see why people make the mistakes. I mean, like I say, you're trying to cram as much in as you possibly can. But these tourists will go to these restaurants that are they're only open to serve tourists because Spaniards don't eat lunch until 2. So anywhere open before 2 o'clock is a tourist trap. What you want to do is get yourself away from the tourist areas and wander like 2 or 3 streets down somewhere and check out where locals are going for lunch. Now, if you read reviews on TripAdvisor or Yelp, they're not helpful really, because the people leaving these reviews, they're not used to the food. And for them, it might be the best paella they've ever had or the best this they've ever had. But what are they comparing it to? So if you're going to look at food reviews, which I'm guilty of doing, I do it when I go somewhere new for the first time, I will look for locals to have left reviews or natives of that country to have left reviews. So I'll read the reviews that are in Spanish and I'll ignore all the rest altogether, because I'm getting a truer picture of what people actually think about the restaurant and the food they serve. So that's the one thing. Stay away from tourist traps. You'll also pay more money. Next thing, when you come here, it's not in the culture here in Spain to leave 20% tips. What you do, don't tip. I'm not saying don't tip, but if your bill is like $7.95, round it up to €10 or something. That's all you got to do. Just round it up a little bit to make it easy. The staff will appreciate the extra money. Also, people get paid real wages here. Nobody's going to rush you anywhere. They're not going to say, is everything okay? Are you done? Can I get you anything else? Would you like the check now? Nobody's going to do that. You're going to have to sit there for a while and wait to get the check probably. Let's see what I got next here. Okay, Spain is diverse. It's very diverse. There's lots of different languages. Every region in Spain has a different culture. It's like many countries within a country. If you go to Barcelona, you're going to be speaking Catalan. If you go to parts of the Valencian community, you're going to be speaking Valencian. You go to Basque country, you're speaking a completely other language, which is other than, I think the only word I know in Basque is, I think, what's it called? Okay. Well, I can't pronounce it. It starts with an E, their language, is topa, which means cheers. So topa. Then there's the Galician, there's Aragonese. Everything's different. Let's, for example, Flamenco. Da 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 da, all that. It's an Andalusian thing. Granada, it started in Granada. If you're in Andalusia, you'll hear flamenco music. There'll be flamenco shows. It's their deal. It's their big deal down there. It's not really in where I live. I live in the Comunidad Valenciana. It's not a big deal here. Flamenco is something that Andalusians do, not Valencians. And if you're in Madrid and Barcelona, of course they have shows. But again, they're all for the tourists. It's not for local people. It's for tourists only. What else is different? Let's say, okay, the food is different. If you go to Galicia or the Basque Country, it's very heavily concentrated on seafood. And the seafood in Spain is probably some of the best in the world. Now, they eat tapas there called pinchos. Pinchos are little, round like French bread with things on top. It could be meats, fish, peppers, all kinds of stuff. Delicious. The food in northern Spain, in the Basque Country, and in Galicia, super delicious. Nothing wrong with it at all. In fact, it's probably the best in the world. In fact, San Sebastian in Basque Country has more Michelin star restaurants than anywhere else in the world. Now, here in where I live, in the Comunidad Valenciana, which includes Alicante, Benidorm, Valencia, Peninsacola, the tapas are completely different, and a lot of them are fried, which some I like. I mean, I like this fried squid. I like the magro con tomate, which is not fried. It's just like a stew in the winter. The tapas are good, but they tend to be, for me now, after 16 years, a bit repetitive. But if you're coming here for the first time, give them a try, and don't order too much. Just, if you see, don't think of portion sizes in America or whatever. Just buy one portion, and if you like it, order a second. That's all. You split them between you. They're all meant for sharing. They're not meant for an individual meal. Okay, now like I said, I live in the Comunidad Valenciana, and the most famous dish here is paella. In fact, most people think of paella as this national dish of Spain, and I doubt that it is. And we don't eat it every day here. People eat it usually when there's like a large group getting together. They'll get a paella, and paella actually means, in Valencian, it means frying pan. So there's something you might not know. Paella is frying pan. It's the pan, the two-handled flat-bottom pan that they use to cook paella in, the rice in. Now the rice you have to use is called bomba rice, and it comes from Valencia. It's a medium grain rice, like a round rice, and it's very similar to the rice they use in Italy for risotto. So if you're not in Spain and you can't buy bomba rice, but you can buy the Italian rice, that's a great substitute for it. Also, there's all kinds of paellas now, seafood, this, that, and the other. The original paella was rabbit and flat green beans or snails. Here in this region, a lot of them like to add artichokes to it. Now, artichokes are in season from December to May, and they're delicious. They're a good ingredient to put in a paella. So if you're here, you're going to get the paella is going to be rabbit, green beans, and sometimes artichokes. But it's not a thing people eat all the time here. You think it's not like fish and chips in England, for example. It's something that's eaten occasionally. Often restaurants on a Thursday will have paella as part of their menu del dia. So if you're here as a tourist and you want to try paella, go to a restaurant that has a menu del dia on a Thursday, because that's your best chance of finding it. Otherwise, if you go to a restaurant and you want paella, most of it's going to be garbage. It's going to be frozen stuff, unless of course you go south of Valencia to the region where it's originated. You're not going to get a great paella, and it's a minimum of, it's got to be for two people. They won't make it for one person. But if you go to a restaurant and it's on their menu del dia, you can just ask for one portion. So that's what you want to do, I guess. All right, let's go to the next one now. So we talked about Spain is diverse. Different languages, different traditions, different holidays. In fact, right now in Pamplona, it's the running of the bulls. These people must be nuts to do that. Maybe when I was younger, I might have said, oh, that looks like fun. But I look at it on TV and I'm thinking, these people are crazy. But every place has its traditions. And just because you go to Pamplona and they're running with the bulls, this is not something that's happens every day. It's once a year for a week. But we're here in Alcoy where I live, it's Moors and Christians. Great big thing, big parade, big procession, and it lasts 5 days. So every region has its own little thing that's going on as far as fiestas go. And Spanish love a fiesta, I'll give you that. All right, next one. Okay, the cost of living. A lot of tourists come to Spain and they think, oh, it's dirt cheap. This is so cheap. Oh my God, can you imagine? I got a beer. It was only €2.50 for a beer in a bar, and I get to sit outdoors al fresco and drink my beer. It might sound cheap to you, yeah, but you're a foreigner. You're on foreign wages. If you come into Spain on American salaries, you're going to be wealthy. But if you live here in Spain, and you work here, it's much more difficult. Salaries are a lot lower than they are in Northern Europe or in North America. And rents are going up all the time, especially in big cities like Madrid and Barcelona, Valencia. Valencia is getting more popular. Prices are going up. And the problem with this is it's pricing young Spaniards out of the housing market. And this is perhaps one of the resentments you get when you've seen the protests against the tourists, because companies buy up apartments and use them for Airbnbs, and it forces tourists out of the city centers. You know, it's I can see the resentment and I understand it, and they're right. They're being forced out of their homes by foreigners. So there needs to be something done about it, and I think the government's cracking down on that now. So hopefully that's going to get better. The cost of living, when you live here and you start paying your electric and your water and your gas and your garbage collection and everything else, if you look at how much wages are here, you're just getting by just like everybody else in another country. I mean, if you're in the USA and you get paid X amount, and by the end of the month you got nothing left, it's the same here. Think of it the same way, except your money from the US, sorry to fly, and your money from the US goes a lot longer in Spain than a Spaniard going to the United States would. All right, the last one, the final one, is Spain's not as relaxed as people think it is. No, it's still less it's a lot less stressful than other cities I've lived in other countries. But again, you know, I'm not working, I'm retired. So I've not got the stress of work, I've not got to get up early, I've not got things to do that I don't want to do. So think of Spain for Spaniards as being like your country. And while you're over here, I mean, show some respect. You know, behave. Don't be rude. The Spaniards will be very nice to you. They're very welcoming. They're lovely people. And if you show them, try and learn a bit of Spanish. If you show them you can speak a little bit of Spanish, they'll be very happy. They'll be very happy. Anyway, so that's my video for today. I hope you found it interesting. And if you come to Spain, I hope you have a great time. And you'll be welcome. As long as you behave yourself, you'll be well welcomed in Spain. They love you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you on my next video. Please subscribe, by the way. Thanks again. Bye for now.